Welcome to Anchored at Harbor Park CrossFit, a show dedicated to helping you find enrichment for the other 23 hours of your day outside of the gym. Here's your hosts, Jason, Dave, and Corian.
And we're back.
Episode 13.
At Anchored at Harbor Park.
Ooh, 13. Bum, bum, bum.
We're doing a back-to-back today. We're moving fast. Back-to-back. We don't have much time, so we're going to skip the icebreaker.
Oh, I had one.
Sorry. Next week. Today we're talking about books. Our favorite books are ones that were most impactful to us. I'm kind of excited about this episode. We were supposed to have our top 3, and I could only pick 7, or I had to pick 7. So I think we're just going to do a little round-robin style here. We'll say the name of the book, why it impacted us, and then move on. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first. I think the first book that really impacted me, and I know that you guys know that I post about it all the time, Miranda posts about it all the time, she's the one that kind of told me about it, is Jen Sincero, You Are a Badass. I think that those books, like my whole life, I've been like, oh, no one really cares about that hoopla, feel-good stuff, but just something about her and the way that she explains being comfortable in yourself and like just trusting in yourself and your things that make you happy and things that you want to do in life, I just really, really love. And her audiobook is only like 3 hours, so it really doesn't take long. I could listen to it over and over again.
Dave, you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. I'm still writing down my list.
So I have a 1 and 1A. They're both biographies written by Walter Isaacson. First is Steve Jobs, and the second is Elon Musk. If you follow me on any social media, you know I love these two. And that's because of the two books. They're huge books, so they take a long time to read, but they're awesome. Growing up, you always, whenever you hear about a superstar or whoever it is, like Michael Jordan, you always think oh, I could never be like that. Even if you're an entrepreneur like us, you think about some of the biggest names out there, like Steve Jobs and Elon Musk, and you're like, oh, those guys are just in a whole different level. Well, these books kind of just obviously show you a snippet into their life, and you realize they're human just like everyone else. They struggle through the same things. But then you also get to see why they're so successful. And it also just helped me kind of level up my thinking and push my mindset to be more impactful with my life. Both of these two were CEOs of 2 Fortune 500 companies at the same time. And Elon Musk is starting his 3rd. And I always wondered, owning 2 businesses, is that too much? And I was like, well, my businesses are both relatively small. Yeah, I can do it. If these guys could do 2 ginormous corporations, I better be able to do my 2 businesses.
Right.
Yeah, I feel like that with the Jen Sincero one is it stopped making me, be so closed-minded, and it helped me just kind of be oh, this is, how you feel, and that's okay. And just kind of outthink yourself. Don't be afraid to dream big, and don't be afraid to, go after things.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So I think that's what I like the most.
Yeah. One that kind of resonated with me was The Power of Habit. That was a really good book. Just talks about, obviously, the power of habit, getting into routines and why those are important. It just kind of really resonated with me, and just waking up early, waking up at the same time every day, getting in that routine of, either meditating in the morning, then go right to work, don't get distracted with email or Facebook, get into your routines. It just really
it also shows how destructive bad habits can be.
Yes.
And that's why, exercise, people find it so hard. They get excited, they start working out, and then about 2 to 3 weeks in, they kind of lose a little bit of motivation. Maybe they're not seeing as much as progress, and they lost that excitement. So then they just fall right back into bad habits, and that can be the negative aspect of habits as well. But the power of good habits is really amazing.
Yeah.
So that's one of mine.
Corinne, back to you. Number two.
Oh gosh. So the next one that I think that kind of reset me was by Carrie Patterson. It's Crucial Conversations. I wish I would have had this in my old life. I think I would have done a lot better job of being able to listen to people. The whole book is just about just understanding that there's times that things are really important to someone, and it might not be important to me, but it's there's a lot of times that coming in here and getting ready for exercise and taking on CrossFit, so many people are nervous and scared and intimidating, and because I'm already in it, I don't think about that. So just being able to understand their point of view, and then being able to talk to them openly and non-judgmentally, and just making sure that they have the opportunity to say their piece, I think has really made me grow as a person, because I definitely I don't always succeed, but I try to understand where people are coming from more often than where I'm coming from. So
I'm going to piggyback yours. My second one is very similar, How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes.
Which it's not the best title because it doesn't teach you how to influence people. It teaches you how to actually communicate with people. And because of that, your influence grows. But it's not influence people in a negative way. Kind of like you were just saying, you learn how to actually talk with people, and you're not just telling them things, you're listening. It gets into even in the social media age, how to be a better communicator and all that stuff. And it was kind of just a paradigm shift once you read it and you realize how much stuff you're doing wrong and bad.
I just realized how closed-minded I was being. I was seeing things from my perspective and what I wanted the outcome to be. And I think this really helped us in our business, and the three of us talking and being able to, grow the business and the community, because, whenever I have something that's going on, I'm much more open to listening to you guys now, and just being it doesn't have to be the way that I see it initially, because there's just so many different aspects. We have different personalities. We see things differently. So.
You guys are all naming some really good books. I've read them as well. But another one, my favorite, and this probably should have been number one, was Always Start With Why. This book influenced me, I think.
Simon.
Yeah, it was a really good book. I want to actually just listen to it again, just because, and I tell people, I even told my brothers to listen to it. It's just a really powerful book. It talks about every decision you make, even in business or in life. You have to find your why, and he actually has a book called How to Find Your Why. But your why is what drives you, what motivates you. And listening to this book, it just really sunk in with me that I'm doing my why right now with fitness and CrossFit and teaching people. And then from there, it's every decision you make. You always have to ask yourself, does it go with my why? So you base every decision you make off of that. So it kind of helps, I think. It's helped direct us, and I think you both have read it, right?
Yeah, I would say that was one of the most pivotal books for Harbor Park CrossFit as a company. I remember Dave first read it, and he kept saying guys, we got to do this. We got to talk about our why. And we, I didn't want to say we shrugged you off, but we're okay, we got more important things to worry about.
Right.
And then I remember listening to it too, and then I was holy cow.
Yeah, it talked about Apple and why they make really simple products, but why are they so successful?
Right.
Because everything they do.
And then they talk about Starbucks too.
Yep, Starbucks as well.
Yeah.
Yep. They just have that focus, the customer driven, they just have that mission to do it. And now we preach it every day. We put it in our email signatures so that we see it, that you guys see it, that all of our customers see it. It's everywhere. It's on our it's on our web page. It's on our Facebook. I think it shows every decision we make.
Yeah, I think that is very important, because it's really easy, I think, in business especially, but even in your personal life and anything else, to get wrapped up in other people's ideas. And you're going to be oh, that's really good. And then all of a sudden you get to a point in your life and you turn around and you go, how did I get here? It's because you didn't follow your path. And I think that we really embrace this when it comes to the gym. We know what our vision is for the gym. We know why we're here. And that helps us, after 3 years, keep making decisions that's going to make our gym the best for us. We don't care what other people are doing. We don't care, what the big hype is or anything like that. Like, we're just holding true to us.
Yep. Yep. Jason, or who's next? Corian, you're next.
Corian's next.
Oh, it's back to me again?
Yep.
So this next one is my newest book that I just got. I haven't even really started reading it, but it goes along with our last podcast we were talking about. It's Healthy Gut, Healthy You. So it talks about
I just got this book yesterday. How's it your favorite book?
I didn't say it had to be favorite books. It's what are we reading?
Okay. I thought it was most impactful.
And what's most impactful? I know this is going to be impactful.
All right, I love it.
The reason that I think it's going to be impactful is because I've got quite a few clients that I'm working with that, again, I've said, like, they're doing typically everything right, and they've still got some issues going on. So I want to be able to dive deeper to be able to help them really understand what's going on with their body. And honestly, it's me too. My stomach's got a lot of stuff going on. It rumbles. It's got some feelings in there, and I want to know how to make myself feel better so that I can lead.
You said you wanted to do more like holistic nutrition,
Yes.
like actually try to heal people through food.
Yep. I think that, American culture is so different than the rest of the world. Herbs and spices and seasonings were all developed not only to make food taste good, but they are healing. That's why we have teas to begin with. Tea's not supposed to be full of sugar and sweet and jack you up. It's supposed to heal you. It's supposed to make you feel better. Like, that's what I want to get back to. And I think that this book is going to get me set in the direction that I want to go. And I think I've really made a paradigm shift in my why and what's important to me, both personally and professionally. And so that's why, even though I've just started it, I think that this book is going to kind of be so influential.
I think you found your why.
I mean, I have one. They just change sometimes.
They change. That's part of the process, is to reevaluate. My next one is also by Simon Sinek. It's his second book, so after Start With Why, it's Leaders Eat Last.
Oh, I want to read that one so bad.
And I mean, it's nothing crazy. It just talks about being a good leader, and kind of like the title says, like, put your team above you, and then everything else falls into place. It's been a while since I've listened to it, so I don't have too much to talk about. I just remember it was another eye-opening one about how to be a good leader.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback off you. This one's by Jocko, Extreme Ownership. Kind of the same premises. He does a lot of stories and to solidify his points. So if you like military kind of stories, Corian didn't enjoy it as much.
Very
as
military.
Yeah.
Militaristic?
Yes. That word.
He gives a example of like a combat mission or something to solidify his points. It's a good read. Gets a little overwhelming at times because it's like always military.
Right.
But it was good to listen to it and then understand that, as a leader, that your team, if they fail, it's because of you and the leadership, and you have to take ownership of your team. And, I think our coaches and our team do a really good job at upholding our mission, our vision. And that's because we expect a lot, but that we make sure that they have that, that we're leading them to find those. And I think sometimes, if we feel like maybe they fail or at a task or whatever, we take ownership of that. And it's because I didn't explain it properly, and I think we're doing a good job at that.
I think both of the books are kind of the same concept, that you have to look within and not outside. And I think that, again, our culture is, like you said in one of our earlier podcasts, is, I'm genetically predisposed to being heavier set, or not being able to gain weight, or I'm short, or I'm tall. And life is going to give you things, but if you just understand that those are the cards you're dealt, now handle it. I think both of those books kind of go down that route. And I can't blame anybody else for any of the things that go on in my life. I can only handle them and then move forward. So,
Corian, do you have another book?
I have a million books, so...
We don't have a million times.
Is that 3?
I have one more.
Well,
that was 3.
But go ahead, Jason. I know you have a couple.
Mine, I have a 4 and 4A here. The 4 is Traction, and then 4A is Profit First. These are both business books that really helped structure our businesses, the kind of stuff we do, how we operate them financially, and then managerially. And I think both have really been pivotal into allowing us to take the next step as a business. So allowing us to have a really structured, stable business. We're not just kind of flying by the seat of our pants anymore.
I love that you say anymore, because there's times.
Oh yeah. We have some things we can fall back on.
Yeah, there's a plan for everything.
Right.
We planned it all out. We mapped it. Love it. And then my last one, the subtle art of not giving a fuck.
That one and Unfuck Yourself are two of my favorite, again, mindset books.
Yeah, I like it. And it's not so much like the title maybe is a little harsh.
It's not like don't care about things.
Yeah, and it's just about how like you can either let what somebody says affect you, or you can just take it for what it is. Like we kind of talked about this as last week, was it episode 11, when we were talking about getting out of your comfort zone. People were talking about, oh, Dave, you're RX Plus, or you're in that RX division, blah, blah, blah. I could have chose to listen to them, or I could have rise against it and not listen to it, or, some of us don't have the greatest upbringings, and you can dwell on that, or you can just say, dealt those cards and I'm going to move forward.
Yep.
Yeah, it's about choosing what to give a fuck about. So do I care that, I go to the store and, I don't know, they're out of something that I desperately want to buy. Like, I can sit here, and I'm sure we've all seen someone in the store throw a fit that coupons aren't being used, or their card got declined and they don't understand why. Like their life is just so wound up, and that's just something that's really important to them. But what is it? Like, I locked myself out of the new building, me and Liz, last week, and I had stuff to do. I could have been upset. It just is life. I wasn't going to let it ruin my day. I went on, and Dave saved the day and came and let us in with a spare key, and, I got to enjoy the rest of my day. But I think the old me would have been like, and the old Dave, to be honest, would have been really angry, and it kind of would have ruined my day. But now I don't. Like, that's the least of my worries right now.
Yeah, I know people that their anger is so bad, just like you said, it ruins their whole day. They wake up angry. They're angry about everything. Every little thing sets them off. You can say the nicest thing to them, and they're going to turn and bite your head off. I think everybody knows somebody to that, and they're, like you said, so wound up. Like, does it really matter that car is driving in front of you? And I'm guilty of that too. Cut you off or driving slow. Does it really matter?
It's kind of funny. The only thing that really winds me up now is driving. It's like the only thing that stresses me out.
All right, Jason, you got a couple more. So
I got one last bonus one, and it's very much like Start With Why. It's called Double Double, and it teaches you how to make like a vision, like a 3-year vision, then how to break it down into a 1-year vision, and then so basically explains how to figure out what either you want for your life or what you want for your business. Like in 3 years, what exactly do you want your life to be like? I want to have a house on the beach or something, whatever it is. And then you work backwards to make it happen. So yeah, that one's really helped me kind of see that long-term picture.
I love it. It's some great books. Hopefully some people who are listening pick up on some of these books.
Well, I think that we have a lot of self-employed entrepreneurs, or some aspiring entrepreneurs, or even people who are just looking to better their life. So we talk about these books not for any other reason than to just, they've changed our life. We hope that, maybe someone will read something that kind of changes their life. Yeah,
some of these books are entrepreneur business related, but I think some of the ones we mentioned are also just, you can better your life as well.
Yeah.
So
awesome.
Anything else?
I think that's it.
Yay.
All right, guys, we'll see you next week, episode 14. Stay classy, Harbor Park.
Stay classy.
Thanks for listening to Anchored at Harbor Park CrossFit. If you would like further information about our programs, visit www.harborparkcrossfit.com. We hope you'll tune in next time.